Welcome, everybody. The NFL season is over, which means it's time to look forward to the 2023 NFL Draft. I'm Joe with the Game House, and today we're going to be taking a look at a San Francisco 49ers NFL mock draft. All right, as mentioned, the San Francisco 49ers are up in our 2023 NFL Mock Draft Series. A couple of reminders before we get started here. We're going to be using the NFL Mock Draft Database Simulator. It's great because it kind of uses the internet's big board in a collaborative way, but there will be some players who end up falling in this mock draft. For the 49ers may not be as big of a deal because they don't have a pick as early, but we're going to be using the Mock Draft Database Simulator. We will be rejecting all trades as we go through. A lot of these simulators don't have the most realistic trades when you go through, so it's just better to see what the 49ers could do when they make their picks. We're going to get this simulation started off, and I will talk through some of the team needs as we go along. The team needs I don't fully agree with here on the San Francisco, or on the Mock Draft Database Simulator. Yeah, they could use another corner. Yes, they could use some offensive linemen. Mike McGlinchey left in free agency. An interior offensive line has been a place I think they've been trying to upgrade for a couple of years now. They could use another wide receiver, mainly to go in the slot, to go with Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. And then an edge rusher as well. They got Nick Bosa on one side. Need to get more on the other side as well. So I do like their defensive line overall. The interior defensive line, especially Javon Hargrave, they got in free agency, and Eric Armstead. So the defensive line may not be as big of a need as the edge rusher. All right, so we're at pick 99 now for the 49ers. Lots of different ways they can go with this pick. Again, these are guys at pick 99. I'm not sure you're expecting to get immediate impact guys, but you're hoping to get a player you can develop and be a solid player. I think wide receiver would be the move here. I mean, just getting another weapon would be nice for this offense. Not that they have luxury weapons right now. So, but let's go Marvin Mims, a guy who can really stretch the field. I personally think he's a guy maybe undervalued in this class. He had to go through a quarterback change this past year. Dylan Gabriel stepped in after Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams stepped out. And still was pretty productive. So let's see what we can get going on here with the next pick here. I'm going to say I personally like at safety. I personally like J.L. Skinner better than anyone else. They have Hufanga. They have Deshaun Gibson. Don't know how big of a need it is compared to what the mock draft simulator has, but that's good value here. I think J.L. Skinner's been a guy that's been a day two guy for a while now. Pick 101. I think that's pretty good value. And now you can maybe address some other needs now that you got your wide receiver and safety already on the board. Let's see here. Let's go Garrett Williams, the corner out of Syracuse. Darius Rush is a solid player. Travius Hodges-Tomlinson is a guy who's mostly going to play in the slot in the NFL, I think. So let's go with the corner who can play on the outside, and Garrett Williams. Probably would have gone higher, but he tore his ACL this past season. It's hard to tell how high he would have gone had he not had the injury, but at the same time, I think you're getting good value here if he comes back healthy. Help that secondary, as that was some of the biggest needs listed by the Mock Draft Database Simulator, even though I think they've addressed some of this stuff in free agency. All right, so next pick up here. It would be nice to get maybe an offensive lineman. I think interior offensive lineman. Let's go Andrew Voorhees, the interior offensive lineman out of USC. He tore his ACL at the Combine, but he was kind of famous because he did his bench press afterwards. So he stayed on and did his bench press after he tore his ACL, did a pretty good job. The guy's decently versatile for an interior offensive lineman, and I think could turn into a good pro. Yes, you have to deal with him maybe not being ready for opening day, but again, at pick 155, you're not expecting to get a guy who's going to step in and start right away. So next one up here, let's go KJ Henry, the edge out of Clemson. Now, he didn't have the most experience at Clemson because they rotate all their edge rushers in and out, but he's a pretty good player as well. You can sign him up next to or across the way from Nick Bosa. Hope to maybe develop him and get him some sacks down the line here in a couple of years. Next pick, let's go Nick Saldivieri, the offensive tackle out of Old Dominion. Mike McGlinchey left in free agency. You might need more tackles. I'm not sure you're going to find a great tackle in this draft class. Even if you take one at 99, you have to hope someone falls to you. So take someone maybe you can develop like Nick Saldivieri out of Old Dominion here. And that leaves some decent prospects left to take here. You've filled some of your needs. The next pick, let's go Tyler Lacey out of Oklahoma State, a guy who's a versatile defensive lineman. I think he can play D-line. I think he can play edge. Maybe a tween or two. But this late in the draft, I think maybe you pick a spot and see if he can work out at one of those. And we'll go for four more picks here. Wouldn't be a San Francisco 49ers mock draft without a running back. Let's go Mo Ibrahim, a guy who was at Minnesota forever but had some injuries. He's a guy who I think can provide that end of the end of the depth chart, kind of provide you with some juice there. Christian McCaffrey hasn't been the healthiest running back, so filling up that depth chart behind him is going to be important. With how many picks the 49ers have, you can pick pretty much every position here that you might want. Let's go Payne Durham, the tight end out of Purdue. He made some really good catches, specifically, I believe they played Tennessee a couple years ago. He made some pretty good catches against them. And a guy who could develop behind George Kittle. I mean, you never have enough tight ends if behind George Kittle, too. I mean, so let's go with him and see what he can do, see if he can develop. The 49ers know their linebackers. They have plenty of good linebackers between Drake Greenlaw versus between Fred Warner. Let's go Cam Jones here. Get some depth. You're likely getting a guy who plays special teams here at pick 253. And then we get to pick 255. And, I mean, we've taken just about every position on the frickin' field. Let's take a kicker at this point. Chad Ryland. 7th round pick. If you cut him, you cut him. But who cares at that rate? Let's go down the draft here. I like this draft personally. I think it's hard to have a great draft when you don't have a pick until pick number 99, but you maybe get some guys here who can provide some value down the road. So Marvin Mims, maybe a guy who can stretch the defense vertically, maybe open things up for Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel underneath while they can run after the catch very well. You get J.L. Skinner, who's a big, hard-hitting safety. Again, you have Hufanga, you have Gibson, but maybe a guy you develop down the road. Garrett Williams is a corner who, coming off a torn ACL last year, should be, I think, ready to go by the start of the season if he's needed. But if not, maybe a depth guy to start. Andrew Voorhees, another injured guy. I don't know how many injured guys you want to take in one draft, but the value is pretty good here. Again, pretty good offensive alignment at USC. Did tear his ACL at the Combine. And did do the bench press through it, which is what he's most famous for. KJ Henry, productive player at Clemson, but he did rotate in on the edge. I think he could be more productive pro, given more opportunity if he develops well, of course, as you're taking about 164. Nick Saldivieri, an offensive tackle from Old Dominion. Tyler Lacey, a defensive lineman or edge out of Oklahoma State. Mo Ibrahim out of Minnesota, a guy who's been there for almost forever. But you got to get a running back if you're 49ers and you're doing a mock draft. Payne Durham, the tight end out of Purdue, some acrobatic catches, maybe develops into something. Cam Jones, linebacker out of Indiana, get him to play special teams and see if he can develop behind all these good linebackers. And then Chad Ryland, the kicker. At this rate, you've taken every other position. Just take the kicker at this rate. But again, I like this draft for the 49ers. Not much you can really do when you don't have a pick that starts until 99, but you get a lot of chances for depth here, and that's what they're going to look for. So we'll see if this team can support them moving forward. Yes, they have all those good offensive players. Yes, they have had a solid defense for many years now as they're trying to get over the hump. The main thing for them, as was last year with the case, was keeping a quarterback healthy and on the field. So they'll be watching the health of Brock Purdy, of Trey Lance, and of Sam Darnold if none of those guys are ready to go at the start of the year. So this concludes our NFL mock draft series. Make sure to let me know what you think of this mock draft down in the comments. Like and subscribe. We'll have more draft content coming out in the next couple weeks here. For now, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.